Okay, good evening, everyone. So I'm with my friends from Kerala. My father belonged to Kasaragod, which is now in Kerala, but when he was born there, it was part of Dakshin Kannada district, South Kannada district. And we are a family who are considered as the guardians of the last post of Tulunadu. That is, if you have come to Kerala, then Kasaragod, you will know a place called Tekkil. So my family hails from the valley near Tekkil called Bevinja Valley. And I am born and brought up here in Mangalore. I did my MBBS here in Mangalore and went on to do my MD medicine from Karnataka Medical College, Hubli. So my father was a freedom fighter and a political activist. He was a Rajya Sabha member and a two-term MLA here in Karnataka. So sorry about my voice, because last 2 months I have been talking too much, so you may come across this once in a while. So I can manage fairly a bit of Malayalam. I worked in AKG Memorial Cooperative Hospital in Kannur for about 10 months between 88 and 89 February. That's between my finishing my MBBS and getting my MD post-graduation seat. It was a wonderful experience, and that is where I honed my Malayalam skills. But some of that I have lost now, but still I can manage, and I would love to speak in Malayalam whenever I get an opportunity. So, good evening to all of you. See, I'm wondering whether I should really speak about COVID or shall I straight away answer your questions, because you would have heard a lot about COVID. So I'm really not sure. You should tell me.
Yeah, Dr. Sab, we'll just start with a 5 minutes introduction about COVID and this pandemic and all. Then after that, we will start questioning one by one. Question and answer will be doing after that.
Better, because I'm sure you all have heard of COVID. You want me to introduce about COVID?
Yeah. Please, for 5 minutes.
I mean, what do you think about COVID at this point of time? That is what we want to
I
know.
will do that. And incidentally, I have put up a background of. You can just see it again. This is a photo of the migrant crisis, photographed by the martyr photographer, Pulitzer Prize winner Danish Siddiqui. So, as a tribute to Danish, I have put up this background. It says everything about COVID. No, we have not been able to offload the weight of COVID, which has been thrust upon us. So, see, COVID, to put it in simple terms, the world knew a lot about COVID right from the beginning. This is against what you would have heard in the mainstream media, your politicians, and that is across the political spectrum when I say that. I'm a bit disappointed about that, to be honest with you. Whether it is the left in Kerala or the right in the rest of the country or the centrist parties in the other states, all states have sort of misread COVID, and they have mismanaged. I can openly state that as far as India is concerned. So in February last year itself, the end of February, the Chinese doctors presented the data of about 72,000 patients, the first 72,000 patients who were admitted in China. And if you go back to that report, which is published in Emerging Infectious Diseases Journal as well as by the WHO, it very clearly shows that the disease is mild or asymptomatic to 80% of the population. And the complications occur only in old-aged people or people with diabetes and blood pressure. And 95 to 96% of patients who die, who don't make it, are the ones with these severe comorbidities. And some drugs were tried by the Chinese doctors, but nothing worked. So nothing has changed from February 2020 to July 2021. Wherever COVID has spread, wherever it has corona has spread, it has caused very similar illness. So to say that COVID is a mystery, we don't know much about it, is all wrong. But that is number one. Number two, it was also very clearly articulated by our own scientists of ICMR in April 2020 that lockdowns will not work. It will cause more destruction, more harm than good in the Indian scenario. So our ICMR scientists published their paper on April 4th in their own journal called Indian Journal of Medical Research. But 10 days prior to its publication, that was 24th March, lockdown was clamped in India when we had only 562 cases. Nowhere on this planet Earth a lockdown was imposed when there were 500 cases for a population of 137 crore. In China, it was one city called Wuhan which was locked down for 53 days. And the lockdown was different. There, they locked down people inside their households, but provided for everything. They provided food, they provided healthcare, they provided everything. And then that's how they could control the disease. But we only copy pasted the word lockdown. We shut down the streets, we shut down the businesses, we shut down the factories, and put everybody inside the household. We beat them up with the police lathis. We didn't provide for anything. So much so that, as you see in this photograph, the government went on to say that we didn't even know that a particular number of migrant people, laborers existed in this country. Anyway, so we continue to keep locking down without even understanding what is lockdown, how corona spreads. Now, COVID, for your information, spreads from person to person by talking to each other, and 90% of the transmission happens inside the household. So therefore, locking down communities doesn't do any good. It will not prevent, and it has not prevented the spread of COVID in India. So what we have done, we have neither controlled the infection, nor we have secured our people's livelihood. So we have destroyed both. So by 1.5 years now, we have almost 50 to 70% of India's population, both cities and villages, affected, and more than about official figures maybe 4 lakhs, but it will be at least 5 to 10 7 times that. So many people have died. So about 100 crore infected and about 15 to 20 lakhs succumbing to it. But even if you put it in the proper perspective, the mortality will come to, when I say infection mortality, 10 lakhs out of 100 crore. So that comes to about 0.015% calculation. If you look at it that way, corona has not really, it is not a disease which deserved this kind of a management that we have done. Now coming to, so that's about lockdown. So we have lost everything, particularly the schools and colleges have been shut down, kept shut down. And I'm very sorry to say that I was probably one of the first ones to write an article on that in June 2020, June 3rd, that schools should be opened. It is a crime against our children to keep the schools closed, to keep the colleges closed, because COVID does nothing to people below 20 years. Nothing, it does nothing. Children, they may have some fever or cough, which they would even otherwise get with any other common cold. It's not an indication to shut down schools. There is absolutely no evidence that children can spread COVID to adults, or children can be deadly dangerous for the elderly in their own household. There is no such evidence. 1.5 years now. So, but despite that, the governments, for the reasons best known to themselves, in the parliament, the government says children are unaffected, children are safe with COVID, and expert committee after expert committee says school should be opened. UNICEF says that, WHO says, everybody says that school should be opened. In 170 or more countries, schools and colleges have functioned normally for the past 6 to 7 months. But in India, as I said, right to left, no political party is willing to stop the schools. This is a crime we are committing on our children. They have already forgotten whatever they have learned in the last 6, 7, 8, 9 years of their schooling. And I'm sure it is impossible for them to pick up from there. And we have destroyed the present, we have destroyed the future for India. That is a reality. Now coming to the treatment of COVID, no treatment will work for coronavirus, because the virus is such that it repairs itself very quickly. So no drug will be effective. Interestingly, no drug is necessary. Say in the first week of the illness, in almost everybody, the viral load in the throat and the nose is cleared by one's own immune system. The problem with COVID is not due to the virus. It is due to the immune system failing to regulate itself. It is, I always say that it's like a brake failure. See, you compare your immune system to a car. Now, how do you start the car, okay, and then you accelerate. As you reach the destination, you slow down, apply the brakes, stop the car, and switch off the ignition. Immune system functions the same way. When a virus or a bacteria enters your system, your body identifies it as a foreign organism, not belonging to your own system. So it switches on, it turns the ignition key for the immune system. So then the immune system accelerates, releasing all the cells and the cytokines which destroy these viruses or bacteria or whatever organism. And as the destruction goes on, the immune system will now analyze how many more viruses are remaining, how many more bacteria, whatever are remaining. And depending on that, it will either accelerate or decelerate. As the infection comes under control, immune system also decelerates, applies the brakes, and once it is over, it switches off. During this process of the car running, you hear the engine noise. Similarly, when the immune system is working, you have the fever, headache, body ache. That's what is suggesting that your engine is running. So once the infection goes, your fever is off, your headache is off, your body, so you know that you have recovered. Pretty much the same happens in almost everybody with COVID. But suppose your car's brake fails, or you accelerate unnecessarily, okay, or you don't decelerate, then you go and hit something and cause an accident, okay, which could be even fatal. Pretty much same thing happens with COVID. If your immune system fails to apply the brakes, if your immune system produces more cytokines, more cells, then the organs get damaged on account of that. The primary organ that gets damaged in COVID, that is the kidneys, the lungs. Sometimes because the coronavirus also attaches itself to a receptor which has links with blood clotting, the ACE2. So there could be clotting of blood in the lung vessels or in the heart vessels or in the brain. These are rare, but most common being lung involvement. Sometimes they may have heart attack or strokes. So, but this, as I said, happens in people who are already ill, whose cars are not in good shape. Brake failed or tires are flat, something like that. So these are the people who are aged beyond 60, who are diabetics, which I've already told you, who have blood pressure, so on and so forth. And that too is very clearly known. Who are the people who are going to land up in complication? There is no mystery there. Okay, and more reports have come to suggest that it is a modern food that we are eating: the breads, the biscuits, the sweets, and the chocolates, and the ice creams, and the fruits and fruit juices. So these are the foods which cause this immune dysregulation, and lack of exercise is what causes dysregulation. So how to combat COVID is just to set right these things. No, go back to your traditional food. Eat lot of fish, eat lot of chicken, mutton. In Kerala, you can eat beef, and you are in God's own country. You are allowed to eat everything, and eat lot of vegetables. Right? That's the best food you can eat. And go for a walk every day, half an hour to 45 minutes. That's all you need to do to keep your immune system in good health. And believe me, you do it, start doing it today, within a week, your immune system will come to good shape. Even if you have diabetes, even if you have blood pressure, you do this, it will help you in winning over COVID. And I keep saying that is the best vaccine against COVID. All right. Now coming to the vaccine. So therefore, no drug is effective. I had written about it in May 2020 when people laughed at me. They jeered me. They said, people have to be taken to the hospital. Every COVID case should be in the hospital, and you are asking them to stay home. Every patient should be given all kinds of drugs, chloroquine and ivermectin, so on and so forth. And you are saying no drug needs to be given. You are crazy. But finally, and I wrote a piece in News Minute, which was published May 7th this year, where I said India is the only country in the world which doesn't follow an evidence-based treatment policy. And there is utter confusion all over the country, including states like Kerala, which initially published an evidence-based policy in March 2020. Later on, it went on adding all kinds of medicines without evidence. So, and then on top of that, we promoted Ayurveda, Kashayam and Kyanaprasham and all kinds of things. And then cow dung bath. So all these things caused, all these instructions created all kinds of havoc. That is the reason why we have seen complications like your black fungus and all that, which were not reported anywhere else on this planet. Nowhere. It happened only in India and happened only during the second wave. Because the confusions were much more during the second wave than the first wave. So this is about the treatment. So nothing works, nothing is needed. Keep your body healthy. Now coming to the last point about vaccination, that maybe we will discuss later. So as I said, once you are infected, you are immune for life. So if you had fever, if you have had headache, which I said 50 to 70% Indians are already infected. So even in this group, 50 to 70% would have had COVID. And how do you know whether you have had COVID? If you have done your RT-PCR or antibody test, it's okay. But even if you have not done it, typical telltale symptoms and signs of COVID are headache. 100% of them will have headache. That is all around the head like this, very peculiar kind of headache. Not very severe, mild headache, mild fever. And 95% would have had loss of smell, complete loss of smell, which is very typical of COVID, which you would not see in any other, like running nose due to other viral infection. This kind of loss of smell is not reported. So it's, if you have experienced any of these, absolute loss of smell for about a week or 10 days, headache and fever, and with mild cough and sore throat. If you have gone through that, it's very likely that you have had COVID. You didn't have to even do the test. So if you have gone through all this, no, you are immune to COVID. Rest of your life, you're not going to get it again. Now, whatever statements may come in the press that one reinfection there, one reinfection here. Remember, when 100 crores are infected, one RT-PCR found positive in a patient who already had RT-PCR positive once, doesn't mean that it is a case of reinfection. There are some 754 or so cases of reinfection reported in the journals, and the reports themselves say that these cannot be considered as authentic cases of reinfection. Could be their relapses or false positives, so on and so on. So I won't go into the detail. So therefore, once you have had the infection, you are immune forever. Don't worry about it. So they need not take the vaccine. It will not add anything. Even though the companies claim that it will boost up your antibodies, in COVID and such other viral infection, it is not just antibodies, it is the T cells and the memory cells which give you immunity. So therefore, which you cannot measure. So even if your antibodies have disappeared, those T cells will be there. It is like middle of the night, somebody comes and slaps you. Rest of your life, you remember that that particular guy has slapped you. Right? You may forget the pain, but whenever you see him next, you know that he has slapped you. Same thing happens with COVID and any other viral infection. It is for life. Immunity is for life. So if you are infected, no need for vaccine. It's very clear. And the Cleveland Health System data also shows the same thing. No, vaccine doesn't help in getting better immunity. They don't get reinfected. So then these vaccines have not been tested in younger age group and in pregnant women. When I say these two being used in India, so therefore this age group should not be using. The last point I would say here, there is no Indian data in about these two vaccines which has been published in peer-reviewed journals. Now, this is a big handicap. This has been pointed out by great virologists and vaccine scientists of our country, like Dr. Gagandeep Kang. She pointed it out. She resigned actually last June 2020 when the government of India tried to force the pace of vaccine trials. So, but she gave some personal reasons to resign, but the media reported that it could have been related to the hurried attempts to release the vaccine on August 15th. Anyway, so in December this year, she categorically stated that in India, the trials of Covishield done in India have not been published in peer-reviewed journals, which is alarming. You can Google, it's available on the web. So even to this day, 7 months after rolling out Covishield, this data is not published. You check the Covishield fact sheet, it only mentions of South African, Brazilian and European data, not about Indian data. And Covaxin preprint has been published. I do not want to comment on that, but one interesting point is that they have studied it on 25,000 people. Out of that, the preprint itself says that 30% were already infected. That means between January and February, March, when the study was done, 30% of people enrolled for Covaxin trial were already infected. Now this trial was stopped before the second wave started in April, May. All right. So if 30% were infected by January, February, in second wave, more number of people have got infected. The remaining of the remaining 70%, at least 50% have got infected. So definitely by this point of time, in urban areas about 70, in rural areas 50, 60 are already infected. So therefore, only remaining 20-30% will have to get infected in the so-called third wave, fourth wave. So Dr. Jacob John, one of our best brains and considered as doyen of virology in India from CMC Vellore, is retired now. He is on record stating that because 70% are likely to be infected, there is already a semblance of herd immunity in India. So therefore, the third wave, even if it happens, it's going to be very mild. This is what Jacob John has said. So the last point is, so if 70% are already infected and third wave is not going to be a big reality as is being threatened now, and vaccine what are being used in India and even the vaccines that are being used in USA and Europe, they are known to be not protecting everybody. Now, if you read today's paper, 86% of the 700 or so people tested for breakthrough infection in India are the new variant, Delta variant. Even in Europe and US now you are seeing breakouts of COVID. They are all due to the new variant exported from here with the Delta variant. So that means the vaccines will not protect everybody against a new variant. So the efficiency of vaccine is about 95% or 85% about the original virus. Now against the new one, they say it's 80, it is coming down to 70 or 16. As more and more cases are reported, the efficacy is reportedly coming down. So therefore, promoting the vaccine to prevent the third wave is not right for two reasons. One, the efficacy is suspect for the new variants. Secondly, it is impossible to vaccinate the entire country by another month or 2 months when the third wave, what they say, is going to happen. So these are all the issues involved. So therefore, forcing the vaccine in the name of third wave is unscientific and probably the last point I said. So considering that these vaccines, particularly the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine known as Covishield in India, Australia, Italy, Canada, and UK have released advisories against the use of these vaccines in younger age group. In Australia, less than 60. In Italy, Canada, less than 55. In UK, less than 35. So, but we are forcing the very same vaccine on our students going to college, on our youngsters, on our employees. So therefore, how far is it? Say, I said Indian data is not available. So at least we have to follow, our government should follow upon the things that what the other foreign countries are doing about the very same vaccine. But that doesn't seem to be happening. So I stop here. Now any questions we will discuss further. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Actually, I would like to ask one thing. Then after that, we will go for a question and answer section. The important question that you have been very famous for that regarding mask. Doctor, can you tell me whether this mask is effective for COVID-19?
See, you have to go back to all the, if you read what has WHO been saying, CDC has been saying. Interestingly, there is a website of European CDC, ECDC. You just Google for European CDC plus masks. They have been very consistent in their position on masks. All right. CDC was initially very consistent, but under some pressure they have changed. WHO also maintained consistency for a long time. Recently they have changed their position. And what was their position and what is ECDC's position even now? That masks are advised only when you cannot maintain the physical distance. And mask will not offer 100% protection. If you are not maintaining physical distance, mask will not provide you adequate protection. This is the standard recommendation by all these agencies. Even Government of India, you would have seen all those RTI replies, very clearly states that it is not mandatory. No, in fact, the Government of India also published advisories very clearly. Those who are feeling sick, those who are symptomatic with COVID, they should wear the mask to protect others. Those who have absolutely no symptoms, there is no need to wear the mask. But at least those who, but this is not what the government is saying explicitly. You have to read between the lines. But at least those who are already infected, those who are immune, they are not going to get infected again, and they are not going to be risking anyone. They are not going to spread the disease. In fact, they are the safest to work with. More than the vaccinated, it is the infected ones who are the safest to work with. So now that 60 to 70% of the population is infected and immune in India, the government should come clean and tell the people that, look here, if you are infected for sure, then no, you are very unlikely to pass on this. So time has come to go back to the initial recommendations made by Government of India, that only those who are symptomatic should sit at home and probably wear the mask to prevent others from getting infected. So this is the position that they should be taking. But as you all know, now mask has become a tool to collect fines and beat up people. Very unfortunate, but politicians and others are going scot-free. The common man is being beaten up. So other day I saw a photograph at the Marine. I am not able to collect it from Google. I should probably take the picture from the paper itself. That the 3 policemen are surrounding and raising a lathi on a woman for not wearing a mask, and none of the policemen were wearing the mask. No, this is where our country has come to.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. Doctor, there is one more thing. I heard about one of the reports in CDC where it was published that if you wear masks, the chances of infection increase 20 times. Is it right?
No, I have not come across any such report. That may not be true. Wearing a mask will not increase the risk of infection. The virus is so smaller than the pore size of an ordinary mask. If you really want to prevent infection, you need to wear a N95 mask. But even with N95 mask, it is not 100% guarantee that you will not get the infection. But N95 is expensive, and it is a disposable mask very often, or you should use respirators which are far more expensive, not for common people. So therefore, this cloth mask, there is a big Danish study of about 6,000 people, 6,300 or so. Very clearly, they had some problems in publishing the data, because the report very clearly stated that masks do not help. And there is another controlled study published from US, where they have compared all the factors taken together and masking, and they have found that mask by itself is not going to protect anyone. That is to say, if you don't have physical distancing measures, if you don't ask stay home orders for those who are symptomatic.
Doctor, I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question adding to that. See, this virus, if you take the size, it will be approximately 20 nanometer to 400 nanometer. And if you see the pores in the mask, it will be to the order of 100 microns. That means 100,000 nanometers.
Yes.
I agree with your point that it will never filter out the virus. Apart from that, I have one question. See, the guy who asked this question, whether it will increase the chance of getting infected, I have a question to ask. Like, you are inhaling and exhaling. Is coming out, okay, and that will be, it may, and your nasal fluids also may come out. That will be infected in the mask. So it may contain some bacteria which may be already infected by the virus, provided I am a patient or I am a carrier. Okay, so now I am carrying all those infected bacteria in my mask, and somebody is coming near me. So if I am not wearing a mask at all, I am having a lesser chance of infecting the second guy. I am wearing the mask because I am carrying all the bacteria now in the nearest vicinity to that person. So, in my opinion, a mask will increase the chance of infection, because if you see in Kerala is one of the highest affected place, second to Maharashtra. Kerala people are having the highest habit of wearing masks, and if mask is going to protect you, then why Kerala is the second highest in infection?
No, see, at least I will go with whatever studies have been done. Unfortunately, you are very right. that no much studies are available with regard to masks. And
Yes.
secondly, absolutely no studies are available about wearing mask for hours together or days together or months together or years together. All right. So these are the huge gray areas with regard to using these kind of masks. Second, third point you said about our own bacteria coming out and settling down in the mask. See, these things have not been studied at all. These are speculation from your
Yes.
side or from anybody's side. So I do not want to see. I cannot straight away say what you are saying is right without evidence. I will never say that. But that possibility, but more important than that, now there are reports it was published in JAMA as a letter, some of you would have read it, that in children, mask wearing will increase carbon dioxide retention. And there is a study reported from a blood bank data from Delhi, very recently, somebody had posted it the other day, of about 19,000 people. So what they found was that those who were regularly wearing masks had 2 grams elevation in their hemoglobin levels, which indicates that these people had decrease in their oxygen concentrations by wearing masks, and that as a compensatory mechanism, the hemoglobin went up. So then the other statement was made by All India Institute of Medical Sciences doctors themselves that masks that are unclean or not washed properly could be one of the reasons for black fungus or other infections. So all these issues are there, so we really do not know. Now coming to your point about Kerala and Maharashtra, see, Kerala is the most population dense state in India. You are how many? 2 crore people, but your area is very small. So Kerala is a highly densely populated state. So maybe that could explain why you have more cases, number one. Number two, Kerala has been doing the maximum number of tests. This was stated by the Department of Science and Technology experts in December last year itself, October or December, that in Maharashtra and Kerala, the multiplication factor was 25. That is, if there are 1,000 cases reported, it will be actually 25,000 cases. But the same factor was 30 to 40 for Karnataka, 300 for Madhya Pradesh and UP. That means for every positive case, they were hiding 299 cases. Those two states are 300 cases.
Okay.
So in Kerala, the testing has been better. So that is one other reason why you have more number of cases on paper.
Okay. One more question in that regard. Like for example, in a hospital, we generally ask the health workers to use a mask because the atmosphere in a hospital is almost somewhat like an aerosol. It will have the dissolved body fluids of lot of patients, which will increase the concentration. So in such a case, if you wear a mask, it will give some sort of shielding. Something will be shielded. In this regard, there was a talk by a doctor that if you use masks, it will protect only the health workers, not the common man. Worldwide, everybody started wearing the mask. So I feel it totally absurd, no? Because from the time onwards, this corona has broken out. I am never using the mask. Even if I am using a mask, also I will just pull out the elastic and it will be just open, so I can breathe normally. Because I hate masks. I never had any corona positive history in my in last. But people who are having 1 mask, 2 masks, putting down everything, they are all in the hospital. I don't have any problem.
Yeah. No, I agree with you because that's what I said. The initial recommendations were more scientific than what is being done now. I think it is time for Government of India to go back to those recommendations. At least tell people that only if you are sick, wear a mask. I think that is the most important thing. Of course, healthcare workers will be wearing. Now, second thing about that whole body PPEs, they are not needed at all. It is proven, and All India Institute wrote about it last September itself, that will not be necessary. Only masks are needed. Even face shields won't protect. But I still see doctors and healthcare workers, and during the final rites of the people who die of COVID, these things are being enforced upon. So that is unfortunate. That is not necessary at all. Only a mask, if at all, would be of some use, but whole body coveralls and no face shields, they are of no use. Because it doesn't spread through skin at all. What is the point in covering the body and the skin?
Doctor, namaste. Doctor, can you hear me?
Yeah, please go on.
I'm from Mangalore itself. I mean, I'm so happy to hear you actually. I just saw your video first about the mask in mall, which happened. And you're the first one to just tell the whole thing about that. Nobody even listened that time. Nobody even was aware about the whole thing. So as of now, my question is, how's awareness in Mangalore? Are people even aware about the whole thing? Like, how is it?
No, see, no, in Karnataka, see, that is something, you have asked a wonderful question. Despite what is being done by the government in Kerala, whether I agree with it or not agree with it, maybe they were a little overdoing it. This is my personal opinion. But one thing is glaringly different between Kerala and Karnataka. In Kerala, the media and the political spectrum across the political divide acted as one. And media, if correct me if I am wrong, did not frighten the people. They just reported what and the chief minister would, I am told, every evening 6 o'clock he will call a press conference. And Kerala government helped the people with food and other things. Even schooling, I am told, TV and all that is much better done than in Karnataka. So here, now people will call me anti-Karnataka. It's okay, I'm open to that. They'll say, okay, he's from Kerala, so he's praising Kerala or political inclinations and all that. But the fact remains that in Karnataka, the information that was provided or what the people got to hear was from the media, which from day one was interested only in fear mongering, scaremongering. They are the ones who are responsible for shutting down the schools and colleges today. Moment the government tries to take a decision on opening the schools, every TV channel starts saying one child has died there, one child has died here. So these people are opening the schools, so on and so forth. When they try to decide on something else, again the media will pounce upon it and create. So this kind of a thing I don't think has happened in any state. That is very, very unfortunate. And fearing the media which is absolutely unaware of COVID, I must say that. They don't know anything about COVID. Yet they take it upon themselves to be judges and decision makers and enforcing their nonsense on the government and the people. So therefore, with such a media, naturally, not only Mangalore, the whole of Karnataka has suffered a lot. No, despite our best attempts to encourage our people. So whatever I have been doing, and me and my wife, who is a dermatologist, we too have been. We wrote a book on it last. It's going for second print now, and the title of the book was Corona Hedera Dirona. We wrote it it was released on August 15th, something like Freedom from Corona. So maybe now I can sort of praise myself. In any Indian language, probably that was the only book which gave confidence to the people and told the people not to be afraid of Corona. And as we are going to print it for the second time now, second edition, every word that we had written has come true. So we do not have to change anything in that book. So we are just adding 8 pages. So we, from our side, both of us, we tried our best to educate our people, and a lot of people have appreciated that. Now, for example, the fact of staying at home. I was the first one to articulate that in March 2020, second week of March. I was called all sorts of things. I was called mad, insane, and people wrote on their Facebooks and WhatsApp pages and all that. But then government of Karnataka was forced to take a decision and open a helpline 14410 and ask the people to stay home. But what happened was, because the media and the medical fraternity in Karnataka created this kind of big halla-gulla or whatever you call it, and after 15 days, you go on saying that Corona is going to kill everybody, you're going to have heaps of dead bodies. Then after 3 weeks, you suddenly say, no, it's not going to be that serious, sit at home. It confused everybody. So to answer your question, I would say people are aware, but they're still scared because of this. So they do not know what to choose. whom to believe. That's the situation here in Karnataka. They are at sea. Yeah.
Sir, ഒരു doubt sir. Hello, sir.
Two questions.
Hello.
Doctor? Yeah, I'm Suresh from Kochi. Okay. Question number one. It's been, what you can say, like internationally, it's been alleged that the virus as such has been not isolated purely. So, in that take, what is your, opinion on that? Number two, are you still wearing mask while going outside?
Yeah, no. See, virus, I do not know where. See, these are some of the conspiracy theories that virus has not been isolated and all those things. See, virus can never be isolated on culture medium like we isolate bacteria. Okay, viruses are half lives. They are not full living beings. They need a human cell or any other cell to grow. Unlike bacteria, which can be free living, viruses are not free living organisms. Okay. So they get into they're only particles of genetic material of DNA, RNA with the coat of lipid and some proteins to enter into the cells. Every virus is like that. So it is not possible to isolate the viruses in a culture medium. But viruses, including COVID, they can be grown on cell lines. That's what we do. And the same thing has been done about coronavirus also. That is why we are multiplying them in cell lines and then killing them and, in a sense, inactivating them. And that is the Covaxin that we have, and then the Chinese vaccine. So to say that viruses have not been identified or isolated is not correct. See, these are all now proven facts. So it is rather all conspiracy theories just to negate science. No, virus is there, corona infection disease is there. I'm treating these cases myself. I'm treating COVID cases. Just today I got a full list of cases that I have treated in one of the hospitals. About 54 of them, and most of them, except for 3, all of them have recovered. That is the data that I have. So COVID, whatever clinical features I described and that has been identified over the last 1.5 years, very typical presentation is what we are seeing. So to say that the virus doesn't exist, COVID doesn't exist, is all wrong. It is there, but as I said, it is a very clear description of the disease we know now. You know whom exactly it happens and how exactly it worsens and how to prevent. All this information is available. So that's about it. And mask, see, as somebody said, I have not been wearing mask much over the last 1.5 years. Only when I used to go to the ICU and COVID wards, there I used to wear a mask, and I have never worn a whole body PPE kit or face shield, not even in my clinic. And I have been treating all my patients like I used to treat earlier. In the last 1.5 years, since last March, I have not used any online consulting app. And all my patients, I'm here for the past 30 years, and I have so many families who are my patients and their families and their acquaintances. And they know me very well, so all of them have my mobile number. And knowing me well, they would call me with symptoms, and I ask them to stay at home, advise them to do whatever they have to do, only paracetamol and all sorts of things. I didn't give any drugs to any of these patients. Almost everybody has recovered. And as I said, in one of the hospitals where I admitted most of the patients, I admitted about 54 of them. I'm yet to analyze the data completely, of which about 3 or 4 have died. And those who died were the ones with severe comorbidity, and 3 of them were very old. 2 of them were, one was 90 plus, one was 88, one was 74. So we could not save them for, with whatever best we could do. But otherwise, most of so just today I posted it on Facebook and Twitter. 2 patients of mine with the X-rays were completely cleared with only steroid and heparin given for a few days. That is the standard protocol, and that helps. Not in mild cases, only in very severe cases we have to use steroid to reduce the immunity. Immune response. I told you the brake failure. So this excessive brake failure and excessive attacking things should be braked by giving a small dose of steroid. And I also said there is blood clotting. So to help them to clear the clots, we give heparin. These are the only two drugs now proven to be useful in serious cases of COVID, which I have used. So I have not used remdesivir, tocilizumab. Anyway, that's about the treatment. So mask, if it is, if I am not allowed inside without a mask, then naturally if I have to go there, I have to wear a mask. Say for example, fly aircraft. Without a mask, they don't allow you to fly. So I wear a mask. I'm not against wearing the mask. See, the issue is, one is the science behind it. So whether it is going to protect you and once infected, whether you are going to be dangerous to others, the answer is no for both these questions. And the other part is the law behind it. So if you are allowed into a shop without a mask, maybe I would go and buy my things. I have no problem in that. But that's what happened in the shop where I have been going for past 15 years. He allowed me inside, he allowed me to buy everything. And then as I was at the cash counter, he gets into another mode and suddenly starts shouting. Anyway, that I will now see under the law of this land. So that's where my position is about mask. So I am continuing to treat my patients of COVID. As I said, I don't wear PPE, I don't wear face shield. Only if needed, I wear a mask. There, in that situation.
Sir, ഒരു ഡൗട്ട്. ഹലോ സർ.
ഹലോ സർ.
സർ, മലയാളത്തിലാണ്, ക്ഷമിക്കണം.
ഇല്ല, ചോദിക്കാം.
ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു സാർ, താങ്ക് യു. സർ, കഴിഞ്ഞ മാർച്ച് വരെ നമ്മുടെ ഇന്ത്യയിലടക്കമുള്ള എല്ലാ രാജ്യത്തെ കുട്ടികളും സേഫ് ആയിരുന്നു. നമ്മുടെ കുട്ടികള്, ചെറിയ കുട്ടികൾ. അതെ, ആ സമയത്ത് മാർച്ചിന് ശേഷം ഫൈസർ കമ്പനിയും ജോൺസൺ ആൻഡ് ജോൺസൺ കമ്പനിയും എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് കുട്ടികളിൽ വാക്സിനേഷൻ വേണമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് FDA-ക്കും WHO-ക്കും ലെറ്റർ കൊടുത്തു? അതിനുശേഷമാണ് WHO അനൗൺസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് അടുത്ത തരംഗം, നെക്സ്റ്റ് വേവ് കുട്ടികളിലാണ് എന്ന്. സോ സർ, ഫസ്റ്റ് തരംഗവും രണ്ടാം തരംഗവും ഒക്കെ നമ്മൾ കണ്ടത് വാക്സിന്റെ സൈഡ് എഫക്ട്സ് ആണ് കൂടുതൽ മരണങ്ങളായിട്ട് കണ്ടത്. അതിൽ തന്നെ ഈ പറയുന്ന മൂന്നാമത്തെ കാര്യം, ഈ വരാൻ പോകുന്നത് കുട്ടികളിലാണ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നതിന്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനം ഈ ഫൈസർ കമ്പനികളെ, ഫൈസറിനെയും ജോൺസൺ ആൻഡ് ജോൺസണെയും സപ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് എന്ന് ഞങ്ങൾ സംശയിക്കുകയാണ്. അതിൽ ശരിയുണ്ടോ സാർ? കാരണം ഈ കുട്ടികളുടെ കേസിൽ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ അവർക്ക് തേർഡ് വേവ് അവരെ ബാധിക്കുമെന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ അച്ഛനമ്മമാര് ഭയപ്പെട്ടിട്ട് ഇവരുടെ വാക്സിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഓടും. സ്വാഭാവികമായി ഇതിപ്പോ ഗർഭിണികളിലും വാക്സിനേഷൻ വേണമെന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. പക്ഷെ മാർച്ച് വരെ WHO പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നത് ഗർഭിണികളിൽ വാക്സിനേഷൻ സേഫ് അല്ല എന്നാണ്. അതെങ്ങനെയാണ് സാർ ഒരു ഒറ്റ മാസം കൊണ്ട് മലക്കം മറിഞ്ഞല്ലോ കാര്യങ്ങൾ മുഴുവൻ? അതെന്താണ് സാർ ചോദിച്ചത്?
അല്ല, ഇത് WHO ആണ് ആൻസർ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്. ഏതായാലും ഈ തേർഡ് വേവ് കുട്ടികളിൽ വരുമെന്ന് പറയുന്നത് WHO പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടോ? എനിക്ക് അത് കണ്ടില്ലല്ലോ.
സാർ ഉണ്ട് സാർ, വാർത്തകളുടെ ലിങ്ക് ഉണ്ട്.
ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇല്ലല്ല, ICMR പറഞ്ഞിട്ടില്ല. അതാ ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത്. ICMR ഈ തേർഡ് വേവിന്റെ കാര്യം പാർലമെന്റിന്റെ അകത്ത് മിനിസ്റ്റർമാർ ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇത് മാർച്ച് 19-ന് ഹെൽത്ത് മിനിസ്റ്ററാണ് പാർലമെന്റ് ലോക്സഭയിൽ ഒരു ചോദ്യത്തിന് കൊടുത്ത ഒരു ആൻസറാണ് ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട്. അപ്പൊ തേർഡ് വേവിന്റെ കാര്യം അവർ പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നല്ല, കുട്ടികളെ 14 വയസ്സിൽ നിന്ന് ചെറിയ കുട്ടികളിൽ കൊറോണ ഒരു വലിയ ഇതൊന്നും ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നില്ല എന്നാണ് അവർ ലോക്സഭയിൽ പറഞ്ഞത്. അപ്പൊ കുട്ടികൾ പേടിക്കുന്ന ആവശ്യമില്ല. അല്ല, ഗവൺമെന്റ് ഞാൻ പറയാം. അല്ല, അത് ഞാൻ നോക്കാം, എന്റെ കണ്ണിന് അത് കണ്ടില്ല. നിങ്ങൾ പറയുന്നത് ശരിയുണ്ടാവും. അല്ല, ഞാൻ ആൻസർ ചെയ്യാം. സെക്കൻഡ്, ഇതേ ഗവൺമെന്റ് ആണ് സുപ്രീം കോർട്ടില് ഒരു 1.5 മാസം മുമ്പ്, 1 മാസത്തില് 1.5 മാസം ആവും, ഒരു അഫിഡവിറ്റ് കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ആ അഫിഡവിറ്റില് ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ തേർഡ് വേവ് സ്പെക്യുലേഷൻ ആണ്. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് വേർഡ് ദേ ഹാവ് യൂസ്ഡ്. സ്പെക്യുലേഷൻ ആണ്. അത് ഉറപ്പായിട്ട് വരാന്ന് പറയാൻ സാധിക്കില്ല. അത് സ്പെക്യുലേഷൻ ആണ്. സെക്കൻഡ് തിങ്, കുട്ടികളിൽ തേർഡ് വേവ് മാത്രം ഉണ്ടോ, കുട്ടികൾക്ക് മാത്രം പേര് ബാധിക്കുമെന്ന് പറയുന്നതിന് ഒരേ എവിഡൻസ് ഇല്ല എന്ന് അവര് സുപ്രീം കോർട്ടിൽ ഇതേ സെൻട്രൽ ഗവൺമെന്റ് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. മൂന്നാമത്തത് ഇന്ത്യൻ അക്കാഡമി ഓഫ് പീഡിയാട്രിക്സ്. അതാണ് നിങ്ങളെ കുട്ടികളെ ഡോക്ടർമാരെ ഇന്ത്യയുടെ ഓർഗനൈസേഷൻ. എല്ലാ പീഡിയാട്രിഷ്യന്റെ അതിന്റെ മെമ്പേഴ്സ് ആണ്. അതിന്റെ നാഷണൽ ബോഡി, നാഷണൽ പ്രസിഡന്റ് സെക്രട്ടറി അവർ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. കുട്ടികൾക്ക് ഇത് അധികമായിട്ട് ബാധിക്കുമെന്ന് പറയുന്നതിന് ഒരു ബേസിസും ഇല്ല. കുട്ടികൾക്ക് അതുകൊണ്ട് പ്രോബ്ലം ഇല്ല. തേർഡ് വേവ് കുട്ടികളിൽ വരുമെന്ന് പറയുന്നതിന് ആധാരമില്ല എന്ന് അവർ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഇത് ക്ലിയർ ആണ്. തേർഡ് വേവ് കുട്ടികൾക്ക് മാത്രം വരൂ, കുട്ടികൾക്ക് പ്രോബ്ലം ആയി പോകുന്നു പറയുന്നതിന് ഒരു ബേസിസും ഇല്ല. WHO പറഞ്ഞത് എനിക്ക് കണ്ടില്ല, ഞാൻ നോക്കും, അത് നോക്കാം, കുറച്ച് ഗൂഗിളിലാക്കിയിട്ട് ഞാൻ നോക്കും. പക്ഷെ
ഇതില് ബാക്കിയുണ്ട് സാർ. അതായത് നമ്മുടെ കേരള ഗവൺമെന്റും ഹെൽത്ത് ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റും വ്യക്തമായും പറയുന്നുണ്ട് കുട്ടികളെ എഫക്ട് ചെയ്യും, അതുകൊണ്ട് കുട്ടികളെ
അതുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അല്ല, നിങ്ങളെ കേരള ആയാലും കർണാടക ഗവൺമെന്റ് അങ്ങനെ പറയുമ്പോ കർണാടകയിൽ തേർഡ് വേവിന് ഒരു കമ്മിറ്റി ആക്കി. ഞാൻ പറയട്ടെ, കർണാടകത്തിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്തു, ഒരു കമ്മിറ്റി ആക്കി. ഈ ദേവി ഷെട്ടി എന്ന് പറയുന്ന നാരായണ ഹൃദയാലയത്തിന്റെ ഹാർട്ട് സർജനെ അതിന്റെ ചെയർമാൻ ആക്കി. അദ്ദേഹം പോയിട്ട് TV-യിൽ നിങ്ങളെ ഇത് NDTV ചാനലും പിന്നെ മറ്റേ ഒരു ഇന്ത്യ ടുഡേ ചാനലായി രാജ്ദീപ് സർദേശായിന്റെ കൂടെ ആൾ പറഞ്ഞു, ഞാൻ എക്സ്പേർട്ട് ഒന്നുമല്ല, എനിക്ക് ഇതിന്റെ കാര്യം അറിയത്തില്ല, എന്നാലും ഞാൻ ഇതിന്റെ പ്രസിഡന്റ് ആണ്, അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞങ്ങൾ ഇതിന്റെ കാര്യം നോക്കിക്കോളൂ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. സോ ആ കമ്മിറ്റിന്റെ അകത്ത് 3-4 പേര് കുട്ടികളെ ഡോക്ടർമാരുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, നല്ല എക്സ്പേർട്ട് ആയിരുന്നു. സോ അവര് ഒരു നല്ല റിപ്പോർട്ട് അതിന്റെ അകത്ത് സ്കൂളിൽ ഓപ്പൺ ചെയ്യുന്ന കാര്യത്തിൽ ഒരു നല്ല റിപ്പോർട്ട് എഴുതി അവർ കൊടുത്തു. ഈ ടോട്ടൽ റിപ്പോർട്ടിന്റെ അകത്ത് സ്കൂളിന്റെ പറ്റിയ ഒരു റിപ്പോർട്ട് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അതിൽ സ്കൂല് തുറക്കണമെന്ന് ഉറപ്പായിട്ട് അവർ എഴുതി. കുട്ടികൾക്ക് പ്രോബ്ലം ഉണ്ടാവില്ല, കുട്ടികൾക്ക് ഇത് ബാധിക്കില്ല, കുട്ടികൾക്ക് സീരിയസ് ആവില്ല, എല്ലാം ഞാനിപ്പോ കുറച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞ കാലം മുമ്പ് പറഞ്ഞ എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളും അവർ എല്ലാ സംഘത്തെ വിഷയങ്ങൾ അവർ പറഞ്ഞു. അത് റിപ്പോർട്ടിന്റെ അകത്ത് വന്നു. അപ്പൊ ഈ റിപ്പോർട്ട് ഗവൺമെന്റിന് കൊടുത്തു. മിനിസ്റ്റർ പറഞ്ഞു, റിപ്പോർട്ട് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട് സ്കൂൾ തുറക്കാന്ന്. അപ്പോ പിന്നെ എന്റെ പേര് പറഞ്ഞു ഇതിൽ ഡോക്ടർമാരെല്ലാം പറയുന്നുണ്ട് കുട്ടികൾക്കൊന്നും ആവത്തില്ല, സ്കൂൾ തുറക്കാൻ പോവുക ഇന്ന് 8:30 മണിക്ക് രാവിലെ ഒരു സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് കൊടുത്തു. 1:30 മണിക്ക് മീറ്റിംഗ് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് 3 മണിക്ക് രണ്ടാമത് സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് കൊടുക്കുമ്പോൾ പറഞ്ഞു, ഈ റിപ്പോർട്ടല്ല, ഞങ്ങൾ ഇനിയൊരു കമ്മിറ്റി ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ പോവുക. അപ്പൊ അതിന്റെ ഉള്ളിൽ ഏതാണ് സംഗതി നടന്നത്, എന്ത് കൊണ്ട് ഇത് ഈ ചേഞ്ച് വന്നു, അത് നമുക്കറിയത്തില്ല. അപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ തന്നെ വാക്സിൻ കമ്പനിയും പിന്നെ ഈ എന്തെല്ലാം വേറെ കോർപ്പറേറ്റ് ഹോസ്പിറ്റലുകാരോ എന്തെല്ലാം ഉണ്ടാവും, നമുക്കറിയത്തില്ല. അപ്പൊ കേരളത്തിൽ ഇങ്ങനത്തെ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് നിങ്ങളെ ഗവൺമെന്റ് ഹെൽത്ത് ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റ് കൊടുക്കുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾ അവരെ പ്രശ്നിക്കുക, അവർക്ക് ചോദിക്കണം, ഇതെങ്ങനെ നിങ്ങൾ പറയുന്നത്, ഇതിന് ബേസിസ് എന്താണ്? കർണാടകത്തിൽ
ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചു സാർ, ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചു, അതായത് ദിശയിലേക്ക് ഫോണിലൂടെ വിളിച്ചു ചോദിച്ചു ഞാൻ.
എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു.
അപ്പൊ അവര് പറയുന്നത് അതെല്ലാം ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്ഷൻ ആണെന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്, അത് കൺഫർമേഷൻ അല്ല, അതൊരു എന്താ പറയാ ഒരു സാധ്യത, അങ്ങനെയാണ് പറയുന്നതെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. പക്ഷെ
സാധ്യത ഇല്ല എന്ന് ഗവൺമെന്റ്, സെൻട്രൽ ഗവൺമെന്റ് സുപ്രീം കോടതിയിൽ അഫിഡവിറ്റ് കൊടുത്ത പിന്നെ കേരള ഗവൺമെന്റ് സാധ്യത എങ്ങനെ പറയുന്നേ?
ദിശയാണ് സാർ പറഞ്ഞത്, ദിശ
അല്ല, ആരായാലും അതല്ല ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത്. സംഗതി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇവര് ഇതിൽ ശരിക്ക് ശ്രദ്ധിക്കുന്നില്ല, ഇങ്ങനെ എന്തെങ്കിലും പറയും, അത് ശരിയല്ല. സംഗതി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ കർണാടകത്തിന്റെ ഡാറ്റ ഞാൻ പറയാം. ഫസ്റ്റ് വേവിന്റെ എൻഡിൽ March 21 21-ാം തീയതി അവർ കൊടുത്ത റിപ്പോർട്ടില് 20 വയസ്സിന്ന് ചെറിയ കുട്ടികള് ടോട്ടൽ പെർസെന്റേജ് ആണ് 34%. കർണാടകന്റെ പോപ്പുലേഷനിൽ 34% ആണ് ലെസ് ദാൻ 20 ഇയേഴ്സ്. അപ്പൊ ഇൻഫെക്ഷനിൽ നിങ്ങൾ നോക്കിയാൽ 9 ലക്ഷം പേര് ഇൻഫെക്ഷൻ ആയതിൽ ഇവരെ പെർസെന്റ് ഉള്ളത് 9% മാത്രം. പറഞ്ഞാൽ നിങ്ങൾ കേരളത്തിലായാലും ഇന്ത്യയിലും എവിടുത്തെ നിങ്ങൾ സ്റ്റാറ്റിസ്റ്റിക്സ് എടുത്താലും ടോട്ടൽ കൺഫേംഡ് ഇൻഫെക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, ആ ഇൻഫെക്ഷൻസിന്റെ ലിസ്റ്റ് ഇതിന്റെ അകത്ത് കുട്ടികൾ ലെസ് ദാൻ 20 ഇയേഴ്സ് സ്റ്റുഡന്റുമാർ ആരുണ്ട്, അവർ 30% ഓഫ് ദി പോപ്പുലേഷൻ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലും ഇൻഫെക്ഷനിൽ അവർ ഉള്ളത് 9% മാത്രം. എന്തുകൊണ്ട് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അവർക്ക് സിംറ്റംസ് ഇല്ല, അവർക്ക് പനി വരില്ല, അവർക്കൊന്നും ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. 90%-95% കുട്ടികൾക്ക് സിംറ്റംസ് ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. അപ്പൊ അവർക്ക് ടെസ്റ്റിംഗ് ചെയ്യില്ല. ടെസ്റ്റിംഗ് ചെയ്യാത്തത് കൊണ്ട് ടോട്ടൽ ഡിറ്റക്റ്റഡ് RT-PCR പോസിറ്റീവിന്റെ അകത്ത് കുട്ടികളുടെ നമ്പറാണ് 9%. ഇപ്പൊ സീറോ സർവേ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്, പൂനെ, ഡൽഹി, ബോംബെന്റെ സീറോ സർവേ ഉണ്ട്, പുതിയ ലേറ്റസ്റ്റ് സീറോ സർവേ. അത് റിപ്പോർട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ നോക്കി, ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിംഗ് ആണ് ഇത്. അഡൾട്ട്സ് ടോട്ടൽ ചിൽഡ്രൻ എമംഗ് ദി ഇൻഫെക്റ്റഡ് 54% ആണ്, ഇല്ല 55% ആണ്. 55% ചിൽഡ്രൻ ഇൻഫെക്റ്റഡ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണ്? അവർക്ക് ആന്റിബോഡീസ് ഉണ്ടാവും, RT-PCR ടെസ്റ്റിൽ അവർ ഉണ്ടാവില്ല, അവരുടെ നമ്പർ കുറവാണ്. പറഞ്ഞാൽ അവർക്ക് സിംറ്റംസ് ഇല്ല, ഇൻഫെക്ഷൻ ആവും, അവർ തനിയെ റിക്കവർ ആയിക്കോളും, അവർക്ക് ഇമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അതുകൊണ്ട് കുട്ടികളെ അഡൾട്ട്സിന് റിസ്ക് അല്ല എന്ന് പറയുന്ന എത്ര വേണമെങ്കിലും വളരെ കൂടുതലായിട്ട് റിപ്പോർട്ട്സ് ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഇതെല്ലാം കുട്ടികൾക്ക് വരൂ, കുട്ടികളിൽ നിന്ന് മറ്റവർക്ക് വരൂ, അപ്പൊ അഡൾട്ട്സ് വാക്സിനേഷൻ എടുത്തില്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ സ്കൂൾ തുറക്കാൻ കഴിയില്ല. ഇതെല്ലാം കംപ്ലീറ്റ്ലി ബേസ്ലെസ് ആണ്. ഇത് ഞങ്ങൾ RTIയിലോ ഇല്ല കോർട്ടിൽ പോയിട്ട് ഈ ചോദ്യം നിങ്ങൾ ചോദിക്കണം. ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇത് ശരിയാവില്ല. ഇവരെങ്ങനെ പറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ട് പോകും?
സാർ ഇതില് സാർ രണ്ടാമത്തെ ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ, സോറി, അതില് നമ്മുടെ ഇന്ത്യയില് ഡ്രൈവർ അല്ല കണ്ടക്ടർമാരില്ലേ സാർ, ബസ് കണ്ടക്ടർമാര് 10,000 ബസ് കണ്ടക്ടർമാർ നമ്മുടെ അവിടെ ജോലി എടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട് സാർ. ഇവര് 100 കണക്കിന് ആളുകളുടെ ഇടയിലൂടെ, അതായത് സ്ട്രേഞ്ചേഴ്സ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ആളുകളുടെ ഇടയിലൂടെ ജോലി ചെയ്യുന്നവരാണ്. ഈ ബസ് കണ്ടക്ടർമാർക്കും ഇതുവരെ കോവിഡ് ബാധിച്ച അപകടങ്ങൾ വന്നിട്ടില്ല. അപ്പൊ എന്താണ് സാർ ഇതിൽ?
അല്ല, അവർക്ക് വന്നിട്ട് പോയിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. അവരെ ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടാവില്ല. അവരെല്ലാം പറയല്ലോ, എനിക്ക് ഇതെല്ലാം എത്ര കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട് ഇങ്ങനത്തെ കോൾഡ്, ഇങ്ങനെ ജലദോഷം, ഫീവർ, ഇത് എത്ര പ്രാവശ്യം പോയിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. അപ്പൊ ഞാൻ ടെസ്റ്റിന് പോകില്ല എന്ന് അവർ പോയിട്ടുണ്ടാവില്ല. സീറോ സർവേ നടത്തി അറിയൂ എത്ര ആൾക്ക് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്.
എന്താ സാർ?
അല്ല, സീറോ സർവേ, അവർ ആന്റിബോഡി ടെസ്റ്റിംഗ് ചെയ്താൽ.
അല്ല സാർ, കോവിഡ് അല്ല സാർ, ടെസ്റ്റ് പോസിറ്റിവിറ്റി അല്ല ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞത്.
അല്ല, സിംറ്റം വന്നിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. അല്ല, ഇപ്പൊ ഇത് നോക്ക് എങ്ങനെ. ഇപ്പൊ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് എന്തിനാ ഇത് അത്ര ബാധിക്കില്ല. അവരെ ഇമ്മ്യൂൺ സിസ്റ്റം ഏറ്റവും നല്ലതുണ്ടാവും. പുതിയ കാറല്ലേ അത്, പുതിയ കാറാണ്. ബ്രേക്ക് മറ്റേ ഇതെല്ലാം കറക്റ്റ് ഉണ്ട്, എഞ്ചിന് ബ്രേക്കെല്ലാം കറക്റ്റ് ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ അവർക്ക് ഒന്നും ആവത്തില്ല. ഈ ഡ്രൈവർ, ഈ കണ്ടക്ടർമാർ, അവരെപ്പോഴും ഇൻഫാക്ട് നിങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ 160 ആൾക്കാർ നടുവിൽ അവർ ഉള്ളത് കൊണ്ട് അവരെ ഇമ്മ്യൂൺ സിസ്റ്റം, ഇപ്പൊ ഞാൻ ഇത് ഇനിയൊരു കമ്പാരിസൺ ചെയ്യാം. നിങ്ങളെ ബോർഡറിൽ നിങ്ങളെ ആർമി ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, നിങ്ങളെ സോൾജേഴ്സ്, അവർക്ക് ഓപ്പോസിറ്റ് പാർട്ടിന്റെ ഇത് നിങ്ങളെ ശത്രു എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നിങ്ങള് അവനെ കണ്ടപ്പാടറിയാം ഇവന് എങ്ങനെയുണ്ട്, നമുക്കറിയില്ല, അവർക്കറിയാം. അപ്പൊ ഇമ്മ്യൂൺ സിസ്റ്റം എപ്പോഴും എങ്ങനെയെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എലർട്ടായിട്ടുണ്ടോ. ഇതുകൊണ്ട് ഞങ്ങള് പാവപ്പെട്ടവരുണ്ട്, ഇതിൽ നിങ്ങള് എന്ത് പറയും, സ്ലംസിൽ ജീവിക്കുന്ന ഇവരെല്ലാം അവരെപ്പോഴും ഇൻഫെക്ഷന്റെ നടുവിലാണ് ഉള്ളത്. അവർക്ക് കോവിഡ് വന്നത് പോയത് അറിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടാവില്ല. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അവരുടെ ഇമ്മ്യൂൺ സിസ്റ്റം അത്ര സ്ട്രോങ് ആയിട്ടുണ്ട്, അത്ര നന്നായിട്ടുണ്ട്, ഞങ്ങൾ സോൾജേഴ്സ് പോലെ. അപ്പൊ അതേപോലെ
സാർ വേണ്ടത് നമ്മൾ ആ ഇമ്മ്യൂൺ സിസ്റ്റത്തിലേക്ക് എത്തിയല്ലേ വേണ്ടത്. അങ്ങനെ എത്തണമെങ്കിൽ അല്ല സാർ, ആ ഇമ്മ്യൂൺ സിസ്റ്റത്തിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യണം, അതല്ലേ വേണ്ടത്.
അല്ല, അതെ, അതുകൊണ്ടല്ലേ ഇപ്പൊ ഇന്ന് ഞാൻ ജയപ്രകാശ് മുളിയിൽ, കേരളത്തിന്റെ പ്രൊഫസറാണ്, CMC വെല്ലൂരിലുള്ള പ്രൊഫസറായിരുന്നു, ഇപ്പൊ റിട്ടയർഡ്. അവരൊരു വീഡിയോ ഇന്ന് ആരോ അയച്ചു, ഞാൻ കണ്ട്. Awaken India മൂവ്മെന്റ് ഇന്ന് രാവിലെ അയച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അവര് കഴിഞ്ഞ ജൂൺ മാസത്തിന്റെ 2020 അതിൽ ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. അവർക്ക് ആർക്ക് ഇത് കോംപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ ആവും, അവർക്ക് മാത്രം സെപ്പറേറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് വെച്ചോളൂ, അവർക്ക് പ്രോബ്ലം ഇതാകാത്ത പോലെ നോക്കിക്കോളൂ. ചെറുപ്പക്കാരുണ്ട്, കുട്ടികളാരുണ്ട്, യങ്സ്റ്റേഴ്സ് ആരുണ്ട്, അവർക്ക് ഇങ്ങനെ പോകാൻ വിടുക. അവർക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഇൻഫെക്ഷൻ ആവണം, ആയിട്ട് അത് പോകുന്നു. അവർ ഓപ്പൺ ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞു. അപ്പൊ പക്ഷെ ഇത് പറയാം. Hello.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Can I proceed?
Yeah, please. Go.
Am I audible? Okay. Hello, doctor. I'm actually a student in Bangalore Engineering College. Okay. The thing is, regarding, I don't know you must have seen or not, but on 16th of July, like yesterday, they released a circular for, I guess, technical colleges, and they were like that faculty, student and staffs for attending of college like semester and exam, at least to be vaccinated by first dose, and at the end of it something disaster management act and also were written, even though the deputy chief minister has said it's not mandatory. Like, how things are going on?
No. See, that I saw the circular issued for medical students. Somebody, a dental surgeon, sent it to me, and another doctor sent it to me. I am not aware of same circular being issued for technical colleges. If you can send it to Gauri, he will forward it to me. You please do that if you have his number. See, this is the problem with the. What do I say? I call it a problem or whatever. This is how the government has been behaving in India. See, 24th June, the minister says he will issue an order making vaccination compulsory for every student. 26th June, we issued a legal notice saying that it will be contempt of court decision of Meghalaya and Ahmedabad. 28th, he from his own department of higher education, they issue a circular wherein it only says that as many people as possible or everybody should be encouraged to take the vaccine. So he changed the word. On 24th, he said he'll pass an order making it mandatory. We sent a legal notice on 26th. On 28th, he issues an order, a circular, merely stating that the vaccination should be encouraged in everybody. He doesn't use the word mandatory. Now, why he did that? Probably to scuttle somebody from filing a contempt petition in the High Court, as we had suggested in our legal notice. So now he is going once, and very next day he addresses the Vice Chancellor's meeting where he says that I will try to vaccinate as many as possible. And on a day before that, he is on record saying that, which you quoted just now, that it's not mandatory. So they keep changing the position. So this is nothing but, can I use the word cheating? This is the daytime lying to the people of, particularly the children. Now, if they have issued a circular for technical, one by one there now, for a medical college they have issued, now you are saying technical. So what should be done is, you people, some of the students should immediately file a writ petition and a contempt petition in the High Court of Karnataka. On the basis of the legal notice that we have given. And the 4 students who signed the legal notice from Mangalore will join the petition. But see,
Sir, actually, I'm not informed about any other student in Karnataka. And in the Awaken Karnataka group, I didn't find any of the student. Whatever, I asked to Divan sir. So he sent me to authority. So he was like, he shared it with your principal and HODs and all people.
Yes. You should do that.
One more thing, but my college is affiliated to VTU. Should I send this email to authority or not?
Which authority? VTU. You send it to VTU. See, you have to mark a copy to VTU. You have to mark a copy to the higher education minister, under whom your technical education comes. You have to send and also mark a copy to the chief secretary and chief minister. Send it to everybody. Send the copy to everybody. Yeah. And then what is such a thing? You be in touch with Vikas. I will. He knows me. We are in touch every day. So then we will coordinate. Let me see whether we get other engineering and medical students here. All of you together can file a petition.
Hi, sir. This is Manu.
Okay, sir. Let know. With government, can I contact you regarding this thing?
Yes, definitely, certainly, yes.
Hi, doctor. This is Manu. I am from Kerala.
Sure, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Actually, there is a direction from Kerala government. Today there is a press release regarding that government that people who have taken at least 1 dose of vaccine are eligible to enter in worship places. And another announcement is that those who have taken 2 vaccine need not take PCR test. Take PCR test in certain intervals. What's your opinion about this?
No, see, this is what I'm saying. Everybody, see what has happened in the last 3-4 years in this country, and particularly after COVID, is that every officer, every police constable, every clerk has become the law in this country now. As I said, central government says something, ICMR says something else, state government says something else in the public, then it says something else in the court of law. Right? Completely opposite. Karnataka government, for example, has given an affidavit in the Karnataka High Court when interstate transit between Kerala and Karnataka was hampered. No, people travel from Kerala was stopped by Karnataka border in Mysore district and South Kerala, our own Karnataka, my own neighboring. We are just 18 kilometers from here. So where checkposts were set up and all that. Then Karnataka High Court ordered that you should not do that. And Karnataka government has given an undertaking that border travel is free. There are no restrictions. But then the deputy commissioner goes on to advise, pass an order under Epidemic Disease Act and Disaster Management Act that they have to come with the RT-PCR report if they are not vaccinated. So problem is each person, each official is now behaving as though he is the law of the land. That is because nobody is questioning them in the court of law.
Yeah.
So what I suggest is, if that is happening, you have to immediately move the High Court with a very good petition drafted, saying that ICMR has made it very clear that RT-PCR should not be asked for these reasons, because labs are already overburdened, the tests are expensive. So ICMR has very clearly given a directive that it should not be done. And secondly, harassing unvaccinated people is not done under the law of the land. And when the government has made it voluntary, you are giving privilege to the vaccinated. See, this I told in front of the task committee members about a month ago. That look here, I am infected. Now 60-70% Indians are infected. As a doctor, I am telling you, when I worked, I don't want to call myself a COVID warrior and all that, because that's a part of my job. I am a doctor, I am supposed to treat everybody. And I cannot sit at home fearing COVID. So I went and treated all my patients, as I told you a little while earlier. So I got infected. I didn't seek any benefit from the government. Did I ask anything from them? No. Did I cry that I've got COVID? Did I make videos and circulate? No. I just, in 3 days, I recovered and I have gone back to treat all my cases. Even now, I am doing that. Now, for a person who treated all his patients like earlier, for a person who didn't behave like a coward and sit at home, but dare to do his duty as per the medical ethics, and for a person who didn't seek any benefits from the government, now suddenly you are saying, look here, you are deprived of everything, and I do not want to get vaccinated because I know very well that I am immune. That is the science now. So for having suffered the infection and for having treated all my COVID cases, now if the government tells me that, look here, you have not taken the vaccine of one ABCD company to help the company or whatever reason, we don't care whether you are immune or not, about your immunity, which is better than vaccine-induced immunity. Unless you take the vaccine, you can't board a flight, you can't come to Kerala, you can't go to your native place. If that is a stand taken by the government, then it is questioning about my professional ethics, my professional sacrifices. So I have to fight for my rights, and I will. This is what I have told the task force. So look here, you are insulting me. Somebody who has not worked, for example, I have my colleagues who have not come out of their house for 1.5 years. They have taken the vaccine, yet they are not coming out. But now that guy is allowed to travel everywhere. And me here, having done everything, worked relentlessly for the past 1.5 years, just because I have not taken the vaccine, I am not allowed to go anywhere. How is that possible?
Yeah.
So we have to bring up all these issues before the courts of law. Passionately, we have to argue our case before the government. And I will tell you, if we do that, we will win, because science and truth and facts are on our side, not on their side.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Doctor, one more thing.
Yeah.
Hi,
Doctor,
doctor.
one more thing. What are the chances of RT-PCR positive for a fully vaccinated person? Whether is it on par with an unvaccinated person? If that is the case, then what is the logic behind demanding that RT-PCR test for unvaccinated person?
No, you are right. See, first of all, RT-PCR doesn't mean anything. RT-PCR only means that they have found 3 or 4 viral RNA particles in your throat. It doesn't mean that you are infected. And a negative RT-PCR doesn't mean that you are not infected. You can have, see what happens is, suppose you have headache and fever today, active COVID symptoms. You have not bothered to do RT-PCR. After 5-6 days, your fever settles down, and right now I have an elderly gentleman admitted with breathlessness, saturation 87%. Okay, he had fever on this 9th and 10th and 11th, 3 days. Then there is no fever. Today has come feeling very weak, not able to speak, and he is having increased breathing, what we call as tachypnea. All right. His RT-PCR was done yesterday, it is negative. But I'm 100% sure he is having COVID. So that is the fate of RT-PCR. Negative RT-PCR does not rule out COVID. They can be infectious with the negative RT-PCR. And a positive RT-PCR doesn't mean that he is having COVID and he is infectious. So why? So this should be. See, again, I bring in Dr. Jacob John here. June 2020 itself, he wrote an article that RT-PCR is done. You don't have to do it. You should not do it. RT-PCR should be done only when these are not my words. These are words of Dr. Jacob John, published in the Hindu when he wrote. I forget the title of that article that he wrote in June 2020. So he said RT-PCR should be now reserved for only those who are admitted with very severe COVID for documentation purposes. Because you see now the Supreme Court also has ordered that all those who are dying of COVID should be given compensation under the Disaster Management Act. So for such purposes, you do RT-PCR. Why for common people? Why for entry and exit? No, this also needs to be questioned. Best is to tell the government itself rather than the courts, because there it will take months together, years together. So what I feel is you all should get together, create a campaign, online campaign, offline campaign, meet the ministers, meet the MLAs, MPs, tell them this is what it is. Enough is enough. Stop this nonsense. This is what has to be conveyed to all our so-called people's representatives.
Doctor, can you hear me?
Yeah.
In regards to, as a follow-up question, the RT-PCR test, although being inconsistent, apart from that, the ethylene oxide, which is used to sterilize the nasal swab, being used, are the people aware about it? Like, is it causing some kind of lymphoma or leukemia, which is like
No.
industry?
See, these are again. These are too far-fetched conspiracy theories. Just because you have one person for a second having a nasal swab, that will not lead to lymphoma or leukemia. So I think we should not. These are not the issues that we should be making big in our statements. That is where we will lose. This is what I have been very clearly articulating over the past 10 days. That we should be clearly focused. We don't have to mention about those things. All right. So we should very clearly say 1, 2, 3, 4. Number one, 60 to 70% already infected. As I said, I am infected, recovered. Why I should take the vaccine? Okay. So infected or immune. There is enough paper to show that with immunity, with infection, immunity is far better. They don't have to take the vaccine. So we are on a very strong wicket there. Secondly, RT-PCR I have already explained. So that is what we need to say. Instead of saying RT-PCR test will create cancer and all that, nobody will take that argument. But we should question the very basis of very need for RT-PCR. Then we are on a very strong ground there. So this is what I keep saying. So we have enough evidence.
Sir, isn't it better if you can collectively demand the validity of this RT-PCR instead of going singly or all alone separately? Collectively, isn't it better?
No, what I feel is, honestly, I'm being honest with you. What I feel is, state by state, we should tackle this issue rather than trying to do it all over India. Okay, so wherever governments and public representatives are more receptive, you need to, for example, in Kerala, I suggest you go and talk to IMA there if they are receptive. You talk to physicians there. I'm sure you will get at least 10-15 doctors. Of the 50,000-60,000 or so doctors or whatever number you have in Kerala, I'm sure you will find very good doctors to support, or sit and discuss with them. And then go to your government, go to the chief minister, tell him, see, enough is enough. We have all seen this. You are not able to prevent the infection. Why don't you have a rethink on this? So this one-to-one interaction is, I think, should be started immediately. And then, of course, legal options, giving a legal notice and all these things also should go on side by side. And maybe we can, or we should consider, like, see, for example, very interesting, why only in northeastern states people have gone to court and succeeded in getting the orders that they have got. Just think of it. In Assam, Guwahati bench of Mizoram court, Meghalaya, Manipur, they have got wonderful orders. And Ahmedabad also. But I don't think we have been able to see. For example, we filed a PIL with regard to opening of the schools in Karnataka High Court in December. Every 15 days it is getting adjourned for whatever reason. So, of course, that is a different matter, different topic. So these issues should be raised before the courts also. But more important, I think, is to directly tackle the government and the ministers and the MLAs and MPs. And of course, my colleagues, doctors. You need to ask them very pointed questions. But when you ask questions, as I said, it is won't help if we bring out these leukemia, lymphoma kind of questions. We should tell them, see, look here, we infected, immune. Why do you want us to take the vaccine? Answer. No, such kind of direct.
Hi, doctor. I am Usman from Dubai. I am listening to you. You are telling the correct truth and absolutely fine. I am a naturopath for the last 30 years, following mostly the vegan system. And you know that we don't believe in this whole vaccination and all that you know better. So why this the doctors and IMA not promoting the lifestyle to be changed in the proper way? And why the vaccine? Do you think the vaccine can help? In my home, now my son, second son is having the positive. I didn't get positive. I did 7 PCR tests. I'm fine. So it's a part of our lives to be modified in the proper way. Why they don't? Even the IM is not bothered to ban the liquor if they are very much concerned about the people. They are only concerned about the vaccine, you have to inject it. What you say, sir. What you say, you are uniquely separate than the so-called modern allopathy. I appreciate your talk. You are mostly 80% you say the fine.
No, sir, I am very much a modern. I don't use the term allopathy because this allopathy term is coined by Hahnemann to justify his method called homeopathy. So I don't want to use the term allopathy. So I am very much a doctor practicing modern medicine, modern scientific medicine, and whatever I am telling you is all on the basis of evidence that is available. Why IMA is not doing it? IMA has not done so many things. IMA has today become a tool or a platform to get personal gratifications rather than stand up for a cause. And of course, IMA meetings are sponsored by the pharma. That's a big debate. That is similar in all the other world medical bodies also. So there are several such issues. So I think unless we create a people's movement and have our own media and reach out to people, none of the other things would work. We need to get together. I'm very happy that I'm getting the opportunity to address all of you. So I see that people's movement is slowly shaping up.
Very good, very good. That's
Enough is enough. Now we have seen all. We have seen the government, we have seen the ministers, we have seen the administration. We have So it is time for us to start speak up and create our own groups and reach out to other people.
Very good, sir. You are a very unique way you are presenting that. We appreciate your goodwill support for the public and keep it up. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
നമസ്കാരം, ഞാൻ രാജേന്ദ്രനാണ്, മലയാളമാണ്. ഹലോ. ഒന്ന് രണ്ട് സംശയങ്ങളുണ്ട് സാർ. നമ്മുടെ കേരളത്തില് സർക്കാർ ജീവനക്കാര്, പൊതുമേഖലാ ജീവനക്കാര്, അതുപോലെ പ്രൈവറ്റ് സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളിൽ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്ന ജീവനക്കാര്, ഇവരെല്ലാം നിർബന്ധിതമായി വാക്സിൻ എടുക്കാൻ പ്രേരിപ്പിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇതിന്റെ നിയമസാധുത എന്താണ്? രണ്ടാമത്,
അത് റൈറ്റിംഗിൽ ഗവൺമെന്റിന്റെ ഓർഡർ ഉണ്ടോ?
ഡിസ്ട്രിക്ട് കളക്ടറുടെ ഒരു ഉത്തരവ് വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് അവര് പറയുന്നത്.
അല്ല, അങ്ങനെയല്ല. അതാണ് ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത്. ഇതല്ലേ ബായിലോട്ട് പറയുന്നത്. നിങ്ങൾ എടുത്തില്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യും. പിന്നെ അവിടെ ഹെൽത്ത് കെയർ വർക്കേഴ്സ് പോയിട്ട്, നിങ്ങൾ ആശാ വർക്കേഴ്സ് അവരെല്ലാം പോയിട്ട് പറയും. പക്ഷെ റൈറ്റിംഗിൽ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾ ഈ 3 ഹൈക്കോർട്ടിന്റെ ഓർഡറും ഗവൺമെന്റ് പറഞ്ഞ അത് ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് ഗവൺമെന്റ് വെബ്സൈറ്റിൽ, സെൻട്രൽ ഗവൺമെന്റ് വെബ്സൈറ്റിൽ ഇപ്പോഴും ഉണ്ട്. നിങ്ങൾ പോയിട്ട് നോക്കാം. ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇത് വോളണ്ടറി ആണ്. അപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾ ഇത് കോർട്ടിൽ പോയിട്ട് ഫസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് ലീഗൽ നോട്ടീസ് കൊടുത്തിട്ട് ചോദിക്കണം, ഇതെന്തിനാ നിങ്ങൾ പറയുന്നത്? അത് പറയണം, ഉറപ്പായിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ പറയണം.
അല്ല, ഡിസ്ട്രിക്ട് കളക്ടറിന്റെ ഉത്തരവ് വരുമ്പോൾ എല്ലാവരും പേടിച്ചിട്ടാണ് ജോലിയെ ബാധിക്കും.
ഇല്ലല്ല, ഡിസ്ട്രിക്ട് കളക്ടർ ഡിസൈഡ്, അത് ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത് സെൻട്രൽ ഗവൺമെന്റിന്റെ മുകളിലാണോ ഡിസ്ട്രിക്ട് കളക്ടർ?
അല്ല 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 അല്ല
കോർട്ടിന്റെ മുകളിലാണോ ഡിസ്ട്രിക്ട് കളക്ടർ? ഇല്ലല്ലോ.
അല്ല സാർ, അത് മനസ്സിലാക്കാനുള്ള സാമാന്യ പലർക്കും ഇല്ലല്ലോ.
അല്ല, ഇതുകൊണ്ട് ഇത് രണ്ട് സംഗതി ഉണ്ട്. ഒന്ന്, പേടിയാണ്. ഇവർ എല്ലാ നാഷണൽ വൈഡ് ടി വി ആണ്, പേപ്പറാണ്, മിനിസ്റ്റർമാരോ പ്രൈം മിനിസ്റ്റർമാരോ എല്ലാവരും ഇത് പറഞ്ഞ് ആൾക്കാർ പേടിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. വാക്സിൻ ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ ജീവിക്കാൻ കഴിയില്ല എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ഇത് സിറ്റുവേഷൻ അവർ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. നമ്പർ 1. നമ്പർ 2, ഇങ്ങനത്തെ ഈ എപ്പിഡമിക് ഡിസീസ് ആക്ട് പിന്നെ ഡിസാസ്റ്റർ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് ആക്ട് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഇതില് എന്തെല്ലാം റൂൾസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട് അവർ. എല്ലാവരും റൂൾസ്, ഓരോ ഡി സി ഓരോ റൂൾസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്, ഓരോ പോലീസ് കോൺസ്റ്റബിൾ ഓരോ റൂൾസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഇപ്പൊ നേരത്തെ ഇവർ പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ കുറച്ച് ടൈം മുമ്പ്, ഡിസാസ്റ്റർ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് ആക്ട് 51 to 60. ഇന്നലെ ഞാൻ നോക്കി 51 to 60 എന്താണ് ഡിസാസ്റ്റർ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് ആക്ട്. അത് വേഗമാണ്. ആക്ച്വലി ഡിസാസ്റ്റർ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് ആക്ട് ഉള്ളത് നിങ്ങൾ അർത്ത് ക്വേക്കോ ഇല്ല ഒരു ഫ്ലഡിങ് ആയാലോ സുനാമി വന്നാലോ അതിനാ. കോവിഡിന് എന്തിനാ ഡിസാസ്റ്റർ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് ആക്ട്? ഇത് ഒരു ഡിസാസ്റ്റർ അല്ലല്ലോ. അപ്പൊ ഇതെല്ലാം ചോദ്യം ഞങ്ങൾ ചോദിച്ചിട്ടില്ല ഇതുവരെ. നിങ്ങൾ എപ്പിഡമിക് ഡിസീസ് ആക്ട് വായിച്ചാല് അതിലുള്ളത് 3 പേജ്, 1.5 പേജാണ്, 3 പേജും ഇല്ല. അതിൽ ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് എന്താ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്? ഇത് 1897 ആക്ടാണ്. പ്ലേഗിനെ കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യാൻ കൊണ്ടുവന്ന ആക്ടാണ്, നിയമമാണ്. അതില് പ്ലേഗില് 35% ആൾക്കാർ മരിക്കുമായിരുന്നു. കോവിഡിൽ എത്ര മരിക്കുന്നത്? 0.05. 10,000-ൽ 5 പേര് മരിക്കും. പ്ലേഗില് 100-ൽ 35 മരിക്കും. അപ്പോ കമ്പാരിസൺ ഒന്നുമില്ല. അപ്പൊ അതിലെന്താ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്? ഫോർ എ ഡേഞ്ചറസ് ഡിസീസ്. അപ്പൊ ഡേഞ്ചറസ് ഡിസീസ് പ്ലേഗ് ആയിരുന്നു, പ്ലേഗ് ആണ്. കോവിഡ് അങ്ങനത്തെ ഡേഞ്ചറസ് ഡിസീസ് ഒന്നല്ലല്ലോ. പിന്നെ അത് 1897 ആ 125 കൊല്ലായി അതിനെ കൊണ്ടുവന്നിട്ട് ഇപ്പൊ എന്തിനാ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നു? നമ്പർ 1. നമ്പർ 2, അതിൽ ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട് ടെമ്പററി പ്രൊവിഷൻസ്. ഒരാഴ്ച, 10 ദിവസം, 2 ആഴ്ച, 3 ആഴ്ച. ഇതെന്താണ്? 1.5 കൊല്ലായില്ലേ? അപ്പൊ പ്ലേഗിന്റെ പോലെ ഡേഞ്ചറസ് അല്ലാത്ത ഒരു സൂക്കടിന് ടെമ്പററി ആയിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു എപ്പിഡമിക് ഡിസീസ് ആക്ട് 1.5 കൊല്ലം നിങ്ങൾ കണ്ടിന്യൂ ആക്കുന്നതുണ്ടല്ലോ. അതിൽ എല്ലാവരും ജോലി പോയി, ഫാക്ടറി പോയി, സ്കൂളിൽ പോയി, കോളേജിൽ പോയി, എല്ലാം പോയി. അപ്പൊ ഞങ്ങൾ ആരും ഇത് ചോദിക്കുന്നില്ല, ഞങ്ങൾ ഇത് മിനിസ്റ്റർമാരോട് ഗവൺമെന്റിനോട് പറയുന്നില്ല എന്നായത്. അപ്പൊ ഇത് ഞങ്ങളെ തെറ്റാണെന്ന് ഞാൻ പറയും. പറയാം.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, Doctor. Doctor, when you were giving the introduction about COVID, in the last you talked about vaccination. So you said that you will be talking about the vaccination later. In that topic only, I would like to ask my doubt whether have you seen any research or you read in which it is said about long-term effects of this vaccination, or will there be any side effects of those?
See, no, you have asked a very good question. No, research is not yet over. Forget about regarding long-term effects of the vaccine. Even short-term adverse effect reporting is not yet over. If you very carefully see what is being done all over the world, all the governments have given emergency use approval for these vaccines. Never in the past, emergency use approvals have been given to any vaccine. All right. So the studies are not over. Even short-term adverse effect reporting is not yet over. In fact, if you now see the Covaxin trial report is published as a preprint. It is available. What they have done? Similar, this is same with all the other trial reports. So why I am quoting now Covaxin? It is very fresh. It is available. They have done study up to March. They have included people 25,000 up to January to March, I think. Then end of March, they have stopped counting infections. When they got some 131 or so cases, that is the number they needed, they stopped counting infections. Then up to May only, they looked for side effects. So how many months? 2 months. And they have now published the data. So it is not enough to, number one, say that after March, if anybody in this group got infected during the second wave, which I told you, Where is that data? That data is not, we don't know how many of them got infected. All right. We keep seeing every day patients with the vaccination, both kinds of vaccination, coming with the infection. We are seeing every day. But these are not captured by the trials that they have published. Covishield data is not in published anyway. So side effects up to May they have reported. After that, there is no report. So same holds good for pregnancy. No studies have been done in pregnant women. And what is being said? Pregnancy is same as non-pregnancy, so you can give it. It is not. We are being dishonest when we say pregnancy and non-pregnancy are same. In pregnancy, the clotting mechanism changes. Okay? In pregnancy, the blood volume changes. So many changes take place physiologically during pregnancy. And immunity changes. Immune response is different in pregnant compared to non-pregnant. So how are we saying, and these two are the most important factors with regard to COVID vaccination, the blood clotting and immunity. So there are several such factors, and mRNA vaccines are being used as vaccines for the first time. So we have to answer your question, nobody knows what about the long-term implications of these vaccines. And they do not want, they want indemnified. They do not want to take responsibility for any complications arising out of the vaccine in future. They want the government to give compensation, not the companies themselves. This is true of all the vaccines.
Okay, doctor. Thank you, doctor.
Yeah.
ഹലോ സർ, കുറച്ച് നേരത്തെ സംസാരിച്ച രാജേന്ദ്രനാണ്. നമ്മൾ രാധാകൃഷ്ണൻ നേരത്തെ സൂചിപ്പിച്ച പോലെ WHO കഴിഞ്ഞ മാർച്ച് വരെ പറഞ്ഞത് ഗർഭിണികൾക്കും മുലയൂട്ടുന്ന അമ്മമാർക്കും വാക്സിൻ എടുക്കേണ്ടതില്ല എന്നാണ്. പക്ഷെ ഇപ്പോൾ കേരള സർക്കാർ മാതൃകവചം എന്നൊരു പദ്ധതി ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ട് അതിൽ നിർബന്ധമായും ഓരോ ആശാ വർക്കർമാരെ ക്യാൻവാസ് ചെയ്ത് എല്ലാ ഗർഭിണികൾക്കും പൂർണ്ണമായിട്ടും വാക്സിനേറ്റ് ചെയ്യണമെന്നാണ്.
ഇല്ല, ഇത് അൺഫോർച്ചുനേറ്റ് ആണ്. എനിക്കറിയില്ല കേരളത്തിന്റെ IMA, ഫോക്സി അവർ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടെന്ന് എനിക്കറിയില്ല. അപ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് കോണ്ടാക്റ്റിൽ ഇല്ല. നിങ്ങളിത് പറഞ്ഞത് കൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ ഒരു ഡോക്ടർ എനിക്ക് നന്നായിട്ട് അറിയോ, അവർക്ക് ഞാൻ വേണമെങ്കിൽ എൻ്റെ അടുത്തുള്ള റിപ്പോർട്ട് ഞാൻ അയക്കാം. എന്ത് സംഗതി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ 2 സംഗതി മാത്രമേ ഞാൻ പറയുള്ളൂ. ഒന്ന്, പ്രഗ്നൻസിന്റെ കാര്യം ഞാൻ ഇപ്പോൾ പറഞ്ഞു, ക്ലോട്ടിംഗ് ആൻഡ് ഇമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി. ഇവിടെ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ് കോവിഷീൽഡ് വാക്സിൻ. കോവാക്സിനിന്റെ ഫാക്ട് ഷീറ്റിലാണ് അവർ ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞത് ഇത് പ്രഗ്നൻസിന് കൊടുക്കാൻ ഞങ്ങൾ ഒക്കുന്നില്ല. അറ്റ്ലീസ്റ്റ് അവർ അത് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട് അവരുടെ ഫാക്ട് ഷീറ്റിൽ. അപ്പോൾ അതുകൊണ്ട് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു നിങ്ങളെ കേരളയിൽ എവിടെയായാലും പ്രഗ്നൻസിയിൽ കൊടുക്കുന്ന വാക്സിൻ കോവിഷീൽഡ് ആയിട്ടുണ്ടാവും, ഇല്ല സ്പുട്നിക് ആയിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. അത് കോവിഷീൽഡ് സെയിം ആണ്. UK റോയൽ കോളേജ് ഓഫ് ഒബ്സ്റ്ററ്റിക്സ് ആൻഡ് ഗൈനക്കോളജിന്റെ വെബ്സൈറ്റിൽ നിങ്ങൾ പോയിട്ട് നോക്കി, ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് അവർ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്, ബിക്കോസ് ഇനഫ് ഡേറ്റ ഈസ് നോട്ട് അവൈലബിൾ അബൌട്ട് ദ സേഫ്റ്റി, വി വിൽ റാദർ റെക്കമെൻഡ് mRNA വാക്സിൻ ഇൻ പ്രഗ്നൻസി. ഇൻഡയറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് അവർ പറയുന്നതാണ്, അവർ എടുക്കണ്ടെന്ന് പറയുന്നില്ല. നമ്മളത് ഡാറ്റ ഇല്ല, അതുകൊണ്ട് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സാധിക്കുമെന്നായാലും mRNA വാക്സിൻ എടുക്കുന്നത് നല്ലതാണ് പ്രഗ്നൻസിലാണ് അവർ പറയുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ഇതെല്ലാം ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ടുണ്ട്. പിന്നെ ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഓസ്ട്രേലിയ പിന്നെ ഇവിടെയെല്ലാം ലെസ് ദൻ 60 ഇയേഴ്സിന് കോവിഷീൽഡ് നിങ്ങളെ കോവിഷീൽഡ് അല്ല അസ്ട്രജനിക്ക കൊടുക്കുന്നത് ഇല്ല. അപ്പോൾ മാൻഡേറ്ററി ആയിട്ട് കേരള ഗവൺമെന്റ് കൊടുക്കുന്നത് അത് എനിക്ക് എന്തോ ശരിയല്ലാന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. ഫസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ഓൾ പ്രഗ്നൻസിയിൽ നോൺ പ്രഗ്നൻസിയിൽ അധികമായിട്ട് കോവിഡ് ഒന്നും പ്രോബ്ലം ആവുന്നില്ല. ഞാൻ ഇപ്പോൾ പ്രഗ്നന്റ് പേഷ്യന്റിൽ പ്രഗ്നൻസിയിൽ കോവിഡ് കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്, ഒന്നും ആയിട്ടില്ല, എല്ലാം റിക്കവർ ആയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അവർക്ക് ഫീവർ വരില്ല, ചുമ ഉണ്ടാവില്ല, ഒന്നുമില്ല. പക്ഷെ പ്രഗ്നൻസിയിൽ ഡയബറ്റീസ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, പ്രഗ്നൻസിയിൽ ഒബേസിറ്റി ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, പ്രഗ്നൻസിയിൽ BP ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, പ്രഗ്നന്റ് അല്ലാത്തവർക്ക് ആ പ്രോബ്ലം ഉള്ളവർക്ക് എങ്ങനെ കോവിഡ് കൂടും? ഇവരിൽ കൂടും. അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ട് പ്രഗ്നൻസി ബൈ ഇറ്റ് സെൽഫ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് എ റിസ്ക് ഫാക്ടർ ഫോർ കോവിഡ്, അത് ഉറപ്പാണ്.
താങ്ക് യു സർ, താങ്ക് യു.
Okay, I think all questions are over. We had a very good interaction. Thank you very much. If there is one more question I can take, then I will go.
Doctor, being said all these things, why in general, like the people, I mean, people have a thinking like all over the places or all over the government or the authorities are imposing stringent laws without much research to back up their claims and all.
I have one sentence answer. You have been tested by the governments about your compliance, about how far you are ready to crawl. And the people have shown that they are ready to take anything. We are ready to be beaten by police. We are ready to, I told you, we are ready to do anything. We are so scared. When we have shown to the government that, okay, come and beat me, do anything, they are happily doing it. So we have to tell the governments, look here, what you are doing is wrong. We have to at least speak up. We have to at least, that's what I said, we have to create groups, more groups like this. We have to spread scientific truth. We have to spread the facts. What you are saying is not fact. What I am saying is fact. Government of India says it is voluntary. How can you make it compulsory? Government of India is saying third wave is speculative. Why are you saying it is going to kill children? So these facts should be held to their face and questions should be asked. If we all try to do that, we are more. If we get together more people to ask questions, it is not difficult to change this in another 15 days. We can do that.
Thank you, Doctor.
Last
Excellent
thing.
presentation.
Thank you,
Last
sir.
thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so on behalf of everyone and Awaken India movement, I will also again tell Doctor to give us that his valuable time. Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Gauri Shankar. And
Thank you.
your
Thank you, Doctor.
India
Excellent.
Mauritius,
Excellent.
thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.